This is ContactTalkRadio.com. Consciousness in action. And you are taking action into your consciousness by tuning into Contact Talk Radio.
And on TuneIn.com, Ping.fm, and UpSnap Mobile.
Contact Talk Radio.
Welcome to Spiritual Psychic with Sarah Wiseman, where you'll learn how to unlock the secrets of spiritual intuition and your own psychic gifts. Here's Sarah.
Hey guys, I'm Sarah Wiseman. Today we're going to talk about the idea of radical self-love and how you can learn to love yourself and why this matters. So when we first come across this idea of self-acceptance and self-compassion, depending on where you are on your path, you may feel like you've wandered kind of into a whole new world. Depending on how and where and when you were raised, you might not have been exposed to the idea of self-acceptance, or certainly not this idea of radical self-love that's possible for all of us. And, we're fortunate that as souls, we are evolving. We're divine beings in human containers, and we get this opportunity as conscious beings to grow and evolve and do our inner work. And we get to experience the guidance of a benevolent universe, leading us to a more positive, joyous understanding of ourselves. And so this is the journey of our lives. When we talk about what is my destiny or what is my soul path, radical self-love is the starting point for all the other expansion. So my own experience of radical self-acceptance happened a long, long time ago, many, many decades ago, actually. And I was at an ecstatic dance workshop. I was a very mainstream person at the time, so I kind of ended up at this ecstatic dance workshop out of the blue, kind of one of those synchronicities, like, how did I get here and what's happening? And I just had the near-death experience that a lot of you guys know about, and was kind of in a dark night of the soul at that time in my life. And it was very unsettling in this dark night to watch everything I'd built in my life up to that point, and it was all just falling down. It was all tumbling away. It was disappearing. And I was just kind of standing there in the rubble going, that's all gone. What do I do now? So a lot of you have had that experience, or maybe you're in it right now. And it brings up this question of, who are we without our identities? Who are we without the identities that we put on every day? And so I was looking at those questions. Who am I at that time without my relationships? Who am I without my family? Who am I without my career? Who am I without my possessions? Who am I without my finances? Who am I without my health? Who am I without my youth? Wherever you are in that stage of all those questions. And the bigger question surrounding all of that is, if we take away all of our identities that we attach to, who are we? So here was this question that I was being faced with in this ecstatic dance workshop, with really no clear way how to approach the question, much less how to find an answer. So as the divine works often, it came very unexpectedly. I was just on the dance floor, and in this particular exercise, all we were supposed to do is just dance and repeat the phrase in our mind, I am enough, as we danced. That was it. It's just, I am enough. I'm enough. We're dancing. I'm enough. Just moving with that phrase. And then noticing what feelings or knowings or understandings came as we were dancing. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. And it sounds just like super simple. And actually, it is pretty simple. But what happened wasn't very simple. I started dancing. I started the phrase, big deal. And then as this came about, the phrase started sort of whispering in my head. And then this understanding came as I continued to dance. And then I suddenly found myself in the middle of the dance floor, not dancing at all, with just tears coming down my face, with the realization of this truth, this beautiful, glorious, unexpected truth suddenly revealed itself. I was enough, without any changes, without any improvements. Nothing needed fixing. I was enough as I was in that moment or in this moment. And as of course, so are you. So from that single, for me, aha moment of universal insight, those many years or even decades ago, all of the flotsam and jetsam of the wreckage that was my life back then, it didn't seem as difficult anymore. I understood that I, imperfect and flawed and faulty being, as I was enough. And just as I was, and just as you are. The universe is non judgmental. As souls, we are perfect, and we are perfectly on our path no matter where we are. So, after that aha moment, the I am enough moment that hopefully you'll have had or will have soon, getting to this place of radical self love or really knowing that you're enough, no matter what anyone else tells you, or no matter where you are in your own idea of what success or good enough means, this is a spiritual path and the rewards are huge. So, one starting point is to look at all the ways you've been misled. So, all the old tapes and training that you've absorbed, and all the misbeliefs with a capital M, as I call them, the misbeliefs. And just look really closely at who you are without all that. Who are you outside of your parents' opinion? This could be if you're young, or it could be you're 90 years old and you're still holding on to that. Who are you outside of your lover's opinion, if you have a lover? Who are you outside of your friend's opinion? Who are you outside of your boss's opinion? Who are you outside of your child's opinion? And when you start to look at this from the idea that you're in charge of yourself and you determine who you're going to be, things change. And again, that big aha isn't the answer all by itself. It's just the starting point. There's always a lot to be discovered and discerned and released as we're moving on this path of becoming divine human. So on this journey to radical self-love, some of the things we're called to do are to release all misbeliefs, to embrace all shadows. I'll talk about that in a moment. To release the past, to practice self-love, and to live in service. And we'll talk about just a couple of these now. So again, releasing all misbeliefs means going back into your childhood and even into infancy for some of you, and looking at everything you were told to believe and seeing if this is true for you. It's probably not true, but just seeing if it is. That means it's not true for your mother. It's not true for your father. It's not true for your school or your teachers or your church or your culture. Not true for the company you work for. Not true for the friends culture you're in. And we go into this soul inquiry with this idea of, what if what they told you was wrong, which it probably was, and we allow ourselves to see things a different way, a new way, which is more in aligned with what's the true divine reality. there's what other people think. And this also includes what people who are very close to you think. And then there's your truth. And the journey of soul inquiry in this path of radical self-love is to sort and sift through all of the old beliefs and determine, what do you want to keep? What do you want to let go? What's useful? What doesn't apply? As an example, so many of us were taught we should be, especially women, but not only, we were taught we should be nice or sweet or helpful or good, right? It was kind of ingrained in the culture for a lot of us. And or maybe you got misbeliefs like you're not coordinated, or you'll always be fat, or our family is always poor, or we need to be in a certain political party, or you're not artistic, or you're bad at math. I'm just picking random ones. So, you just go through this process of looking at all of this, and you just find out a lot of it is not true. And you get to just release those misbeliefs. You get to say, not true for me, to anything that doesn't resonate with you, with who you feel yourself to be. And if the people in your life protest, and they probably will, because most of us don't like change, it's fine. You get to have discernment to look at your belief systems and free yourselves for the ones that aren't true for you, regardless of anyone else's opinion. And then another little piece, and we'll talk about this now also. When we're on the path of radical self-love, we're called to stare down our demons. Now, by demons, I don't mean demonic entities. A lot of you guys in this field would immediately go there, but I'm just talking about the demons of emotion, or the demons of loop thought. I'm talking about the shadows that plague us, the ways we think or act that really aren't in our best interest, or that we're not proud of, or that we struggle with. As a really, common example, so many people in this culture by modern culture, struggle with addiction. So there's drugs and alcohol and other substances and shopping, pornography, social media. You guys have heard me talk about this stuff quite a bit. These addictions are really just a compulsion to darkness at the deepest level, or a compulsion to separation, and they drive us in an unconscious or non-conscious way. So when we're looking at self-love from the place of being enough, of nothing need fixing, we look at we bring the shadows in, and we might say to our shadow, okay, I see you. I see you there, old friend, and I've known you for a long time, and maybe you're not something I'm super proud of, but there you are, and I accept you, and you're part of me too. And on this path to self-love, we embrace what we love about ourselves, and we also embrace the shadow. And, this is, of course, our shadows are often the only part of us that's teaching us what are our biggest soul lessons. We can embrace our shadows instead of trying to hide them or be ashamed or guilty about them. And when we do this, everything comes into light. We can actually look at what's there, lurking in the darkness, or the false idea of separation. And we can ask our shadow, what is it trying to teach us? Or what needs looking at? Beautiful, amazing teacher. And, in other parts of your life, you've probably had other people or other events who are teachers. The worst people can be the best teachers, right? And this is looking at within us, the worst part of ourselves, in quotes, there's nothing need fixing, can be the biggest teacher. What needs to be looked at? What needs to be aligned? What needs to be brought into balance? What needs to be released? So it can take great courage to accept our shadow as also part of us. We accept the good, the bad, the all of it as integrated essences in the process of our soul expansion. Remember, in all of this, we're not our story. We're not the narrative we tell ourselves, such as, I'm the person who lived here and did this, and then I did that, and then I did that. That narrative is really just one sort of perspective out of many thousands of perspectives you could have, and it's not even real. What's real is how we show up to every moment now. Not in the past, not even in the future, now. This idea of being in nowness, letting go of all the narrative, all the misbeliefs, and just showing up to what is and appreciating the moment fully, and then the next moment fully. And this is what creates true joy in our lives, this aspect of self-love, which we can just be fully present. Nothing needs fixing. I am enough right here, right now. So we just touched on a little bit about radical self-love. If you would like to know more, go and dive deeper, you can go to sarahwiseman.com and go to courses, and there you will find the Self-Love Project. Thanks for listening.